Hi, and welcome to the 2023 Cat and Tonic webinar. I'm Megan Devine. I am the CEO and owner of Cat and Tonic, and I'm here with Susan Beyer, who is an awesome researcher.
Hi, everyone. So I own a research firm that helps agencies like Cat and Tonic get some insight into how people are feeling about a particular topic.
All of us at Cat and Tonic were really curious about the way B2B marketers are doing their business and marketing strategies.
What we did was we built a custom online survey for you. It took about 15 minutes to complete. And we talked to 168 respondents who completed the survey. We've got over 24 industries represented here. And that 168, actually, from a statistical standpoint, gives us a really solid understanding of what's going on with statistical reliability. As I said, it was a quantitative survey, so we have a lot of information about these people and their organizations. As you can see here, we've got gender, we've got age, we can see lots of managers or senior managers, we've got both sales and marketing folks, a big range of company sizes and marketing spends. So basically, if you're watching this, you're in here somewhere. 100% of these companies are B2B companies, and half of them are selling both products and services. Half of them sell both B2B and B2C, and 14% are also selling to government. And in terms of who's granting final approval for sort of marketing initiatives and tools and those kinds of things, we really see a range here. 41% of the people in the study weren't actually sure who's going to make the final decision, because sometimes it changes, right, Megan?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There might be two explanations for that. One is that there's a little bit of a disconnect. Maybe it goes back and forth between sales and marketing. The other thing is it might be a very large organization. I hope it's that and not confusion, but
yeah, for sure. Okay. So, the basis of our research, Megan, is around attitudinal segmentation. The responses in the survey to how people think about various things basically give us segments of them. And the segments are defined based on people who have a set of attitudes in common with each other. So it's not just how they feel about one thing or two things. I think we put 40 different attitudes in front of these folks. 4 different types of respondents in the survey. So we call them skeptics, believers, controllers, or nurturers. We're going to go through each one of those. Let's start with the skeptics. This is the biggest group at 30%. So these folks are really tactical, both marketers and salespeople. Their perspective on marketing is that it's less important than sales efforts. You use it when you need it, if you've got something big going on. And they really feel like a lot of their clients are more concerned about pricing than they are about differentiation or what your marketing looks like. It's interesting, these folks skew a little younger compared to the other segments. 58% of these folks are under 40. Now, we have them in all age groups, as you're going to see, but they do lean a little bit younger. So very sort of, let's just get right to the point.
Right.
They have some very strong beliefs, these folks. One of them that I found really striking, Megan, was that sales and marketing are essentially the same thing. And they're both marketing and salespeople. So it's not just a function of salespeople not getting marketing.
I think that speaks to some of the tactical approach too. It's like we're going to accomplish this through instead of more strategic stuff.
They say that younger buyers are significantly more challenging to build relationships with. So they kind of have a hard time connecting, which is interesting because this group tends to be a little bit younger. Quotes from some of the folks in the actual survey. I do feel we should engage our audience a bit more, ask what kind of content they want to see, and engage with a younger audience as well. And there needs to be more communication between marketing and the salespeople in the field to understand customer needs.
I really felt like this group was striving to do better.
Second group, believers. Man, these folks are killing it. Enthusiastic marketers. They are doing a lot of marketing. Yes. Love for you. They're not only doing a lot, they're trying a lot. And they're sort of on a continuous improvement program to use data just to better understand their audience, to better differentiate from others. It's just something that they really incorporate into what they're doing every day. So quotes here, we need to establish ourselves as the most creative and advanced technological brand in our field. We should keep utilizing the latest research and data to understand the evolving marketplace better. So they're really engaged ongoing in this effort to better understand in any way they can the people that they're serving and to differentiate themselves as a provider from maybe competitors who are doing that kind of work.
Exactly. And also use the tools, whatever tools are available. These people are like, okay, let me try this.
Yeah, I love that. Beliefs for this group. Branding is foundational to their organization's marketing efforts. They really have deeply held beliefs about the power of strategic marketing and branding. They say a well-articulated brand improves return on investment for their organization. So every single marketing initiative should include a lead generation component, building in real opportunities and value that make the person who's seeing that work want to connect with you.
Right, exactly, at all levels.
Controllers, these folks are all in, they feel really good about their marketing and sales. They do tend to skew a little bit to the sales side, more likely to be an owner or top exec at a smaller company. They're doing really well. We're on track for a record year. Referrals are yielding the most new customers for 60 years.
They're a machine. They figured out their business, what they need to do.
And they're just doing it. Absolutely right. So these folks know that those two things, looking different than everybody else in their space and having content that is engaging with their customers and prospects, is important. And that's part of what they're doing. This is a group that is not as tech savvy and yet is still prioritizing this understanding and getting it.
They have found a way to truly understand and build the relationship with the eye on the audience, as opposed to what we want to say. What do they want to hear? What do they need?
Nurturers. I love nurturers. They are all about relationship building. They're more likely to be in sales than believers are. They skew a little bit older. We need to visit prospective clients to get ideas from them. We need more engaging and modern content. They're really focused on the relationship with an individual prospect. They say relationship is foundational to effective sales. They also say that it would be a mistake to assume that their direct buyers really understand their organization's offerings.
As compared to controllers, they're missing one of the elements that would make them truly sing with their marketing.
Yep, for sure. If you look at these demographics through this lens of 4 different segments, there's some interesting things that pop up. First of all, there is no gender difference. Leadership, we do see a difference. 62% of those controllers are in a leadership role at their organization. And there are differences in marketing. The nurturers are much less likely to be in marketing than any of the other segments. And it's actually the believers who are really sort of the more likely to be in a marketing specific role. Age is across the board, but if you look at the column that says 30 to 39 and you see that big purple bar, that's the skeptics. And as you look at the 60 to 69 bar, you see a little bit of growth there on the part of the nurturers relative to sort of the younger age group. And the nurturers are also more likely to have been in their role longer. So we do see some leans here or there, but we can also see everybody across all of those characteristics from each segment. So when you look at all of this, Megan, and look across this sort of landscape, how does this align with the kind of folks that you're working with day in and day out at cat&tonic?
I would say one of the things that is interesting to me, and I think consistent, is that B2B marketing is very complex.
Yeah.
And anybody who goes into it thinking it's a one-trick pony or an easy, you've got one audience that you got to serve, that's just not the case. So what I really love to hear is that people are understanding the importance of understanding the end user for their distributors, for their e-commerce, for all of these different areas, and for sales, because in the end, if the end users aren't happy, nobody's happy.
Right.
The sustainability part is something that we are definitely hearing more and more about as an important part of core value for companies. In terms of differentiation, I think most people that we work with really understand that they need to differentiate, but it's not easy. You're so close to your own stuff, right?
Yeah.
How do you differentiate your own stuff? All of our clients are very engaged with creating the best creative and branding. We do a lot of messaging work where we're tweaking the messaging to make it more differentiated and or bring companies up to that next level. So
yeah, well, creative is interesting, I think, as an element of differentiation, only because it's one of the things that people can see about you without actually having direct contact with you. We know people are lurking and looking long before they contact us about buying anything. So that's an important element.
But also, it helps people understand content better. If you have good creative, if you have messaging that is presented well, you're going to have more success.
Great, awesome. So let's look at some specific attitudes that have a lot of agreement. Relationship building is the foundation of effective sales. My organization excels at building relationships. The best way to appeal to those who might buy directly from us is to differentiate ourselves from others, the point that you were making. And researching those who might buy directly from us is essential to successful marketing. As a researcher, I love that big 70 number. That's awesome. Successful organizations use data to inform marketing initiatives. And that's not just research, right? That's any kind of metrics data or ad data or whatever kind of stuff that you're getting, market information.
Right, as well as, personal values, emotional cues, personal values, psychological drivers.
There's so much cool stuff you can get out there now that didn't exist 20 years ago, for sure.
Yeah.
My organization is clear on the problems we solve for those who buy directly for us. 70% strongly agreeing. Yay for that.
That's huge.
Organizations with well-articulated brand positioning achieve a better return on their marketing. 68%. Great. Brand development is foundational to my organization's marketing efforts, and marketing functions best when it's based on real data. So let's talk about differentiation a little bit. Can you sort of give us your perspective on sort of this side of the house?
What I found interesting is that only 27% of respondents said their organization is excellent at differentiating itself. And also 62% feel they differentiate through customer service, which
you can say differentiation on customer service isn't real differentiation.
Isn't real differentiation, right?
I know that is your point of view for you.
Right. It is.
Yeah.
Because everybody's working at it. They're working at it. They have a plan.
So many know what it can deliver. Like there's a lot of embracing of that. I was surprised at that 27% number too. At the percentage who know how important it is, who know the impact it can have, and still only 27% say they're really good at it.
Yeah, exactly. We hear a lot of companies going, well, it's our people that set us apart. It's our customer service that set us apart. And I get that. I mean, I feel that way about Cat and Tonic, but I can't go out there because every other marketing agency says the same thing.
The same thing.
They're all saying their people are the best, and they're
it's kind of table stakes, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
And I guess the risk is if you think that's where the magic happens, you may not be focusing on the other things that could actually have a bigger impact on differentiating.
You can look at your customer service and then go deeper into it and go, what is the problem that you solve for your customers that's unique? One client that we helped tweak their brand, and they were a really great printer, and their whole their brochures, their website, all of it was focused on print machines. And as a long-term print buyer, nobody cares about your print machines. When we got them to say, well, what we really do is we take the same machines and we do innovative things with them. Now you're talking.
Because it's
Yeah,
based
you can
on
think
the
about it.
outcome, the benefit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Found this to be interesting too.
76% say their creative assets are very or extremely important in differentiating from competitors. 77 say they're very or extremely effective in highlighting their differentiation. And 79% say brand positioning or voice and tone development are very valuable for their organizations.
And I think that if you are a B2B marketer and you haven't thought about your brand, or you haven't thought about the creative that you're putting out there, I have seen some websites that they look like they're 20 years old. How much farther along could you be if you were speaking to the people as you would speak to them today? If you presented your brand as this modern brand that I know it to be, but it doesn't show up in your website. It's just the way it is, right? With generational change, and there's a big one happening.
Yeah.
So people who are not paying attention to that in their differentiation are going to be left a little bit behind, or they're going to have more struggles.
We've got a huge range of budgets. In here, as you can see, from less than 25K to 10 million or more. 54% of the skeptics and the believers have bigger budgets over $1 million. So that sort of sets them apart a little bit.
It does. And I loved that the skeptics had big budgets, because the overall feeling was that skeptics were maybe not, believing in marketing. But I think they need to find a way to elevate some of their strategies from the tactical approach to look at it more from 10,000 feet and see what else they can do to support those tactics. And they're going to be kicking butt.
They're spending a lot of money, but it's at a really tactical level. So they're missing a strategic component that could help them tie everything together and better differentiate them from their competitors and support their sales efforts, which they know are important.
Which is essentially where the believers are.
Maybe you just sometimes need a little bit of outside perspective because you're in the bottle and having trouble seeing the label.
Yeah. True.
So we asked them what percentage of their total budget they're spending on marketing. And again, a big range. You could see the priority reflected in the percentage of their budget that they have to work with that they're actually devoting towards marketing efforts.
Exactly. Yeah.
The norm, 30% of all the groups spent between 6 and 10% of their budget on marketing. Some spent more, some spent less, but I think that aligns pretty well with what Deloitte says about B2B marketers, 6 to 7% on average.
Yeah. And I felt like that was pretty much what I would have expected.
If you go to the cat&tonic website and you'll see the visualization there, you can actually look at these answers for each of the segments, and you can look at it for different company sizes and sort of really dig in and sort of see maybe where your organization is sitting on some of these metrics.
Yeah. Yes, it's an embarrassment of riches in there.
It's a fire hose of information. I love it. Knowing your buyers and end users. So this is really interesting for me. The majority of these respondents say that their organization usually or always is using data of some kind, right? So social media monitoring or AI or whatever they're doing to help develop their language, imagery, content, messaging that's part of their marketing story. You can see the percentages here that say that data about their buyers extremely or very important. That's 73% on the left there. And then about end users, even higher.
That's the way you really get results, is by understanding the needs and addressing them. So I was really, really glad to hear this.
Will tools like AI or research or tech actually help your creative resonate more effectively in a B2B environment? So we had a lot of people agree very strongly with this. The skeptics most likely to say that is where their creative can benefit. That group in particular is really embracing some of these new technologies as a way to reach people with better creative.
And that's really smart.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I love it too. It makes it easier to speak to the emotions of a buying decision. You think people make decisions based on data or, if I have all this information in front of me, but there's a really primal and strong emotional part of making a decision. Everybody has it.
Yeah,
it's a part of our
brains, isn't it?
It's a part of our brains. What we've found is that you may think that you're giving people what they need, but if you understand that they want to be treated in a certain way and you speak to them that way, it's going to hit home better.
Yeah, there's a lot of science behind the sort of emotional things that connect people to a decision that they're considering about making and persuade them to make it.
Yeah, and if you can connect in that way, all of your marketing is more successful. It connects, it gets people to engage and take an action.
So having the data is good so that you can produce emotionally resonant messaging. Okay, most respondents say the best ROI they've had on a marketing initiative was around 50%. So what do you think about that number?
I found that to be really interesting. If you're not getting ROI on your marketing, I think you're probably needing to go back and look at some of the basics. And I think there are a lot of people who do marketing but don't ask. They don't have an ask. They don't have a CTA. So they might be putting it out there, but they're not telling people what to do. And sometimes that is just not going to get you. It'll get you some awareness, but it won't get you a specific ROI.
Highest ROI. So a lot of the things that brands are using can absolutely deliver high levels of a return for respondents if they're doing them right.
Yeah, and we do a lot of video work here.
Oh yeah,
it's
27%.
It's really that's a really great thing for niche manufacturers, for somebody who has a really specific audience.
We're telling clients, if that's not a tactic that you're using right now, in most cases, your data with B2B buyers is showing that you need to be.
Right.
And B2C consumers even more.
In our experience, the competitor research has really helped with the differentiation. We'll look at 8 different competitors and they're saying the exact same thing. Well, we need to really pull out a piece that shows you to be an expert in a different way.
I know you love this chart, the importance of creative development.
What this speaks to is that B2B marketing is becoming much more like B2C marketing. People are understanding that they are selling to people.
Both marketing and creative priorities. If you're watching this and your organization is not thinking about it from a priority, you're in the minority. What we saw in our study. So marketing insights are not quite as prioritized. That's an interesting, maybe not making the connection for folks between how important that step is to do the step that they are prioritizing really highly.
Exactly. And so those companies that are not differentiating well, maybe they aren't prioritizing getting in true insights from their data to be able to, speak more relevantly to their audiences.
So maybe their creative looks good, but it's not resonating.
Right.
Okay. I know cat&tonic's an expert in this space. Tell us what you tell your clients off the back of this research.
As the business climate continues to shift, I think everybody needs to find the most effective ways to engage customers and prospects and, dealers and distributors. What's effective for your business, for your audiences? Do the research, dig into the data, look for insights, and create brand differentiation. Develop creative and messaging that will resonate with your audiences. And that's going to be essential to successful sales and marketing moving forward. I have no question about that. So
It's
I think
sometimes overwhelming, isn't it? With like,
it
there's
is.
so many things you can do. Yeah, I like that point about just really figuring out what's going to make the most sense for you from a strategic standpoint. So you don't
Yeah.
spend money on stuff that's maybe not going to be helpful.
And it's important to look at what your business goals are,
Mm,
because from that standpoint, you want to make sure that your business goals are tied into your sales and marketing goals. Differentiation is more important than ever. You really have to be sure of yourself in terms of what problem you solve and how you solve it.
yeah.
And then making sure that your brand is resonant today. And then going back and understanding what those end users need in order to help your dealers or distributors.
And trying to keep the thread all together.
Most of our clients have those multiple,
Mm.
avenues that they're trying to make sure are working well and all of that.
Well, my hope is that the folks watching this webinar sort of dig into this a little more and really trying to understand where they are and where their organization is on this spectrum of attitudes, because it'll help them maybe isolate the kinds of things that they could be working on to do better. How can they get more information?
For the full data visualization, it's cat-tonic.com/B2B Research. We would love to have you follow us on social. If you have any questions and you want to reach out to me, go ahead and contact us at curious@cat-tonic.com.
All right, wonderful. Thanks everybody for joining us today.
Thank you. Bye.